Right, Ebusuya, for the past 48 hours, news will be trending on Ghanaian social and mainstream media platforms. Involving the Nungua Traditional Council, the Ghana people. One Gborbu Wulormo, man be a wenya emfie 63, or ware a young girl, according to the Nungua Traditional Council, no, the girl is 16 years. But Ghana media phobinum so claim is a girl when you're in fear a year 12 years. A year edumie no. Now me who say social media phobinum ni mainstream media phobinum ababon chabetro mwadrin ibinum diatema ye diatemu diatem. And our more ye church ase with a ye sound minding so chase. Now ye ni can share some few videos of it. Na say we are senior muni na muni menso machre madrin. Watch.
That the young lady who is our queen is under police protection. Therefore, if the police have remarked that she is under police protection, where again do you want to find her? But we are telling the world that she is our royal. And if the police are saying they are taking care of her, then the police must be reminded that whatever happens to her, then traditionally we will deal with the police.
Right. Mate say ababe a banter between the Nungua Traditional Council and the government of Ghana. For Ghana police for akofa girl no to safety because senior munina monim no whether 16 years old, 12 years old, no cry what asemnum and say girl no or ye underage. Also, mimi say me yobia I'm all for African culture. And I say Ghanaian culture because no ne yansu de. Ni say Asante culture, say ewe culture, Dagomba, Nanumba, hwan Fante culture, Ghana culture, I'm all for it. Because no ne yansu de. And area se culture bia ni hwa perfect. Culture bia Jimmy wo. In case ni ekoso ye Jimmy mechechim. But yentias say culture bia no is not perfect. Oko to the Indians their Buddhist culture anya perfect. Oko to the Western world and untina ene omudi omotono. Omo culture nankasa no trumudie ni emwa 77 trumukankan ejimi sembom. The Arab culture, the Jewish culture bia ni we are perfect. You know, the Ghana culture just like any other culture in the world anya perfect. The same thing applies to the Asante culture and every culture that we all know. But sebi you say yebefa obi dia enya perfect dia nka yemfa yenkasa ye dia sebi you enya perfect. Intimidate ubi samia I'm all for African culture. I'm all for Ghanaian culture. I'm all for Ghana Asante whatever culture. But the issue of culture no say BBC that's the way they can tiasi na say o rashi beka ho asema obeti because you really have to understand near ACA any baby a ifra eba. Ghana for no esha say yes adie we enye ne omo ware ma Gborbu Wulormo enye ne bi asem. Na unim information mensa kan kire say senior media ama Ghana for binum adwen ayomo say ma no ware young girl no ne nakoda twempna na se ne nakoda you know ene no ada afefro ni sa level senior be ma ne obeshia I love you na ya kwakwaye ye ho ade na ja sa level no sa na Ghana media ama Ghana for binum agiedi. But in reality, no information which is legit, authentic, say enya sa netie. So Ghana culture mu a Gborbu no a deity. Wulormo no a din given to the servant, and I said the priest of that deity. Inti no Wulormo no is the name for the 63-year-old man in question. And Gborbu no the name of the deity. That's why they say Gborbu Wulormo, meaning the worshipper of the deity Gborbu. Munika muntia siesa. Inti we nya ware whereby ya Wulormo ne small girl no kwakoda eye afefuro ene no ada sex ni ade there be nyesa we this kind of marriage no there is no intimacy, there is no childbearing, there's nothing. Because girl no on worry man no aye Wulormo or worry deity no, the deity is the Gborbu muni ka munti ehonase enti me de sorry say a Ghana culture there I respect the Ghana people. You know, this is what you guys believe in. Say this is your culture, your custom, your traditions. Nobody can chastise you. Emra Ghana, before Ghana became Ghana, there was Ghana culture. Before Ghana became Ghana, there was traditions and customs. We never threw away our chieftaincy and our customs and our bylaws. They are still there. They are still operating. They are still existing. In the sebi, Emma Yan Rashi in Inkran for na tema na said the Nungua Traditional Council or the man in question, no, Emma Yan Rashi in atem. Yentna sina yan same way. It is how a real way, no. The lady, and I said the young girl, the underage girl, is not getting married to the Wulormo, the man. Is rather getting married to the Gborbu, which is the deity, the Ghana deity. But question me woni, many problem, but question me woni. Yen for the issue of man no girl no da and tonche NC. It wouldn't happen. I believe it wouldn't happen. Because your culture no sebi ifin bi anim. Jimmy wom but ifin bi anim. There is difference between ifin and Jimmy. Yeni kan yenti asesa. But question me when they say Ghana Traditional Council for church say girl no was 16 years. And a media for Ghana for binum so church say girl no 12 years. But whether 12 or 16 years, question is say the and I say the conclusion is say the girl is underaged. In the question me be saying underage girl no, and I say the teenage girl no, does she know exactly what she's getting herself into? Because when you are getting married to a deity is a spiritual matter, and just something that we can just play with it. Say yen can trust and will be anchored that David. Getting married to a deity is a spiritual matter, and we know where we are coming from. African spirituality and I say African gods, African power. Don't joke with it. Getting married to a deity is a spiritual matter, which I believe we say every spiritual matter should come with their consequences, repercussions, sacrifices to be made. Ebi American, for example, say God no crumble worry deity na ultimate and chimp na beam, and I say in the real world no ultimate and worry beam. And only example na me cite me nka say sa na tie. And only example. But young funny say sa na ni American etia. Is the girl aware of this kind of consequences ana? And you say bia make a girl now for ne mama ne father e bi mpo make na enyo mo de. Now so their hands are tied. There's nothing they can do. But the girl in question no I was say ono so otimi giving it or no one consent because sa worry we are or worry dating no ni ebesi bia no repercussions and whatever that might come as a result of marrying the deity, no, is the girl who will go and bear, and I say, is a girl's duty to bear and not the parents. It's young fan now for Tonchen, ebi omo their hands are tied. But girl nankasa in question, no, does she know exactly what she's getting herself into? Because I believe we say area say, niya obia beye bia no, we must be aware of what we are doing. We must be of sound mind and we must be of age. Sanya beya ye take any decision biya ibetimi hu se no sa de we are me minimia me ye pa esunsun so no ba my ready meje. But in this case no girl near underage sabi onim ne left and right na ye worry no ama a deity is the girl aware of nia oye no. So what happens say ebia yet na say Emma marriage no koso na someday girl no enyi na say girl no tena say no chese osombe kra na mesum and rafita ne ipa da gugu me ho ne nkawa bi ne yese ho ahwan gugu me nsa yese me ho ahwan yire sa wari ya me wari e de emfa so kra mpo na menya free mo na time wana me wari mpo na menim ne ameye nti se ya me ne afri de me mpa bi me ne nye ho me nsum ne bi date no me mpa wari no bi mu a what happens to the girl na say bi a girl no pese oja wari na warrior na all worry date no say wanyi kanea na mo worry no ama date na uswa intira wonim nia wo ye ene de na ni afi o se o mpebiem o pese o jai date na warrior. What happens to the marriage and what happens to the girl. When you're a question of insult, this are when you're a question of say, Wulormo no or need girl no koda there be NC. I believe strongly say NC. But the real question is a girl no nia oye onim nia oye. Does the girl in question understand the traditions and what she's getting herself into? Does she even understand? These are the questions I was Ghana for you now and the Nungua Traditional Council. These are the questions you guys must ask yourselves. Sanya girl no, is she aware? Has she given her consent? At that age of 12 years, 16 years, she's still too young to understand anything. What him say, pa? At that age of 12 or 16 years, Ubisamia, to me, she's still too young to understand anything. 18-year girl, is she aware? Is the girl aware of the repercussions, the consequences? Is she aware in general? Enti, se girl nya aware. Na se esan se osua oni sei. Na ofo nso ebi American ohianti omunsu ni sei anase embra chichiro omunti no omunsu ni sei. Na ye pia this young girl into this kind of union, into this kind of spiritual union no. Na ye ho no hwe mu a child abuse be ya abem. Yenwene ma yadwenu nya adwuma. Because ye ka say child abuse a se wo tete akwada na se wo de akwada nam kwan bi so no krampo no che se onim ne enti a wo de ne nam sa kwan no so ana se wo ya akwada bibi which is against on one consent is say something who take advantage of ne child foolishness de aye bibi atia na ono akwada na krampo on tiase ye ka se child abuser no. In this case no say ni girl na yes girl na mi a wo ye na se girl na ntini a wo ye na se a enye na ehoro so dwen ho kwachira child abuse bi abem ana mo ne menya adwen child abuse bi abem because minua 16-year-old girl 12-year-old girl osua me kan krampo no oguso a woko school the girl is still too young enti empanifo ni fie babia sa busia na nko se muyi oba free ma oba ne be ware ayi Gborbu no penny be any more na 30-year-old woman, and that's a 25-year-old girl, 20-year-old, and that's a 18-year-old girl be any more now. So why must you go for a 16 or 12-year-old girl? If you can get adults who are of sound mind and who know exactly what they are doing, why must you bypass those adults and go for such a teenage girl to do what? Sabi. Oh, say ya nye enyi sa nima we numbi free a culture no more. My culture and look attractive to the younger generation. And these are my fears. Say, no. Because yes, culture is dynamic. In tiempo se culture no. Sadie we sa culture we be not no. Now I'm here for a specific reason. Na emfaso mu ana making sense. But the question is, be about 300 years down the line, does this aspect of sa culture no still make sense to us now? Is it still important? Is it still relevant? The answer might be yes, it might also be no. In this example, the answer is yes, sir. And I was say, rebranding no. Now it may fit into our modern society. And yes, sir, a mebru na omo bano. Ye be pam omo ine free culture no. That's why those days na Ghana phobia no mu a etu kwan kwa brochi ko de adru. Omo kwa na etwa nto se o time why you two JJ abangu ye no na say sorry you time why you two kwame nkroma abangu ye no na me father ka ho na JJ pene kuno ni adenti no mabusuafo nyina ye pia kwen na medwane. Why? Because ye create our room no for people to run away from the nation. The same way your culture mo so say ya nhwe new be amputati a ye be pam mebunu no afri your culture no. That is why today you find out say the black man or the Ghanaian is so much comfortable calling himself or herself a Christian than to call him or herself a traditional believer. The same way, Philip Proud say, Obeka say, me a Muslim than say, Obeka say, me a African traditional believer. Because these aspects of our culture, no, we have failed to modernize them. We have failed to make them dynamic. We have failed to make them relevant. And please, with all due respect to the Nungua Traditional Council, to the Wulormo, Gborbu Wulormo. Mesre, se mon santenase, na mon dwendwen sansem we ho mon santenase, na mo decision no mon sanwe ho biem. Because me dey so be me aga onu so onyinru bia the girl has to understand what she's getting herself into. And you be no say opie piane say o debi o ya kwadenti ko debi. Because we all have one life to live. And any decision or choice that you make in this world, the consequences, you must be of sound mind to understand the consequences of your actions, your choices and decisions. Sene be ya ni awo ye no wan kasa wadwen betimi ehu se no saa de we ya me ye die ebeboa me ana se emoa me moda roma ye nwe hu biem na sebi o yemfa ba bia e wo se ye de bibi to no yemfa nto nya saa ebefra to efri to so a ebebo ana se epai so asebi o bibi asai bibi se nso ana se ye effort ene ye nim dia ye de wura mu na emfa so bi amfri so ama ana se sebi o nyansa de bia ni ho a efri mu ebae ahaya na medemu ABC. Midin any chairman Freemind. Makram.